Can a dolphin, a creature we call intelligent, playful, and friendly, really harm the very person who raised it? Can the same animal that grew up being loved, trained, and admired suddenly turn into a danger? This is not just a rumor. It happened to Jessica, a woman who devoted her life to caring for one extraordinary dolphin, a dolphin she raised, played with, trained, and loved as family. For years, their bond was celebrated, a symbol of trust between humans and the ocean's most intelligent creatures. But one performance day, before a packed audience, that trust was shattered. Jessica entered the water, smiling at the cheering crowd, unaware that her life was about to change forever. In a single shocking moment, the dolphin she trusted most sank its teeth into her arm, dragging her under as blood spread through the water. The crowd thought it was part of the show. They clapped, cheered, and laughed while Jessica fought for her life. Why would an animal so loved suddenly attack? Was it just a tragic accident? Or was there something deeper hidden beneath the surface of truth about captivity, stress, and the silent suffering of dolphins that few ever talk about? Stay with us, because this is the real story of Jessica and her dolphin, and how love, loyalty, and danger collided in one unforgettable tragedy. Before captivity, before the shows and the applause, Jessica's dolphin lived a very different life. In the beginning, the ocean was her home. She was born free, in the vast blue waters, swimming beside her mother, learning to leap through the waves and chase shimmering schools of fish. Every sunrise brought adventure. Every sunset ended with the comfort of a mother's presence. The young dolphin was curious, playful, and full of energy. She would rise to the surface, leap high into the air, and look around at the endless horizon as if trying to understand a world beyond the sea. She chased fish, swam through coral reefs, and explored every hidden corner of her watery kingdom. The ocean gave her freedom. The ocean gave her life. But freedom has enemies. One morning, when the sun was still low and the water glowed golden, the peace of the ocean was broken. Large boats appeared, cutting across the waves. Nets were lowered, not the ordinary fishing nets meant for catching fish, but massive, heavy nets designed for something else, capturing dolphins. The engines roared, echoing underwater, frightening every living thing. The young dolphin panicked, but her mother tried to keep her calm. They swam faster, dodging the noise, but soon the net spread around them like a giant trap. The mother fought, thrashing, trying desperately to break free, but the nets were too strong. The young dolphin could only watch as her mother struggled and failed. From that day forward, her life in the wild ended. She was taken from her ocean home, ripped from the only family she knew. That was the day her captivity began, and it was captivity that brought her to Jessica. When the dolphin arrived at the marine park, she was weak, frightened, and confused. But she soon met Jessica, a young trainer with patience and kindness in her heart. Jessica gave the dolphin a new name, Balo. At first, Balo resisted. She avoided contact, refused commands, and floated in silence. But Jessica didn't give up. She spent hours by the pool, speaking softly, offering food, and gently encouraging her. Slowly, Balo began to respond. Within months, the bond was undeniable. Jessica wasn't just a trainer, she became family. They performed together in countless shows. Jessica's proudest moments came when Balo leapt high into the air, splashing down with power that made children gasp in amazement. Crowds cheered, and Jessica's heart filled with joy. To her, Balo wasn't just a dolphin, she was a friend, a sister, a partner. But behind the applause, subtle signs began to appear. Balo grew restless. Her energy seemed lower. During practice, she no longer hit the hoops on her first try. Sometimes she ignored commands entirely, staring at Jessica with eyes that seemed different, not playful, not joyful, but tired, almost sad. Jessica noticed. She even gave Balo breaks, canceling training sessions when she seemed unhappy. But the unease grew. Balo avoided Jessica's touch, flinched when trainers came close, and made sharp, warning noises instead of playful clicks. Jessica told herself it was stress. The lights, the noise, the constant crowds, maybe it was all too much. Still, she believed in their bond. She believed Bala would never hurt her. She was wrong. The morning of the big show arrived. The park was buzzing with excitement. Families filled the seats, children waved flags, cameras flashed. Jessica stood backstage, her heart racing not with fear, but with anticipation. She whispered a prayer. Let today go well. Balu swam circles in the pool, but something about her movements was different. She was faster, more restless, disappearing under the water for long stretches before reappearing. Jessica brushed it off. The show had to go on. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. Please welcome Jessica and Ballo, the stars of our show. The crowd erupted in cheers. Ballo made her first jump perfectly, sending water spraying across the front rows. Children laughed, clapping with delight. Jessica smiled. Maybe everything was fine after all. But then came the second stunt. Jessica stepped into the pool, reaching out to call Ballo closer. At first, Ballo swam gently toward her, as she had done hundreds of times before. But in an instant, everything changed. With terrifying force, Ballo clamped her jaws around Jessica's arm and dragged her under. Jessica screamed in shock and pain as water filled her mouth. Blood swirled around them, turning the pool red. The audience roared with laughter and applause, convinced it was part of the act. But the trainers knew the truth. They rushed forward, shouting, scrambling to save Jessica. One trainer dove into the water, while another grabbed a metal rod to push Ballo away. Ballo thrashed, refusing to release her. Jessica's body went limp, her face pale from shock and blood loss. Finally, after one desperate push, Ballo let go. Jessica was pulled out, half conscious, her arm torn and bleeding badly. The show stopped instantly. Panic spread. Sirens wailed as paramedics rushed Jessica to the hospital. But the world had already seen it. Within hours, headlines exploded. Dolphin attacks its trainer. Jessica's condition was critical. Doctors said if Ballo had held on just a few more seconds, she might not have survived. Her arm was severely injured, and she slipped in and out of consciousness. When she finally woke, her first words were not about her pain. They were about Ballo. Where is she? Is she safe? The trainers hesitated. Ballo had been isolated in a separate pool. Park management considered her dangerous, even discussing sending her away permanently. Jessica broke into tears. She couldn't accept it. She's not a monster. Something must have happened. I need to know why she did it. But the truth was painful. Captivity takes its toll. Dolphins are intelligent, emotional creatures. The stress of confinement, endless shows, and constant human demands can push them to breaking point. For Ballo, the pressure had finally erupted in the most tragic way possible. The bond between Jessica and Ballo had been real, but even love cannot erase the suffering of a wild animal trapped in a life it never chose. This story leaves us with haunting questions. Can we truly call it love when the price is freedom? Can we expect wild animals to entertain us forever without consequences? Jessica survived barely. Bala was never the same. Their story reminds us that the ocean's most intelligent creatures are not toys, not props, and not built for cages. Sometimes, even the strongest bonds can break when nature is pushed too far. Friends, if stories like this move you stories of love, loyalty, and tragedy, then subscribe to No Return. Because here we bring you the real stories the world needs to hear, stories you will never forget.